basement flat. That's where I lived with my mum and dad when I was 3 years old. I think it was my 4th birthday in that flat. And I used to walk to the end of this road when I was 3 or 4 years old and sit on the railway bridge and watch the trains go by and sit in the steam and watch them go to London. David was born from here, I think, and I was sent to Hastings while Mum was confined with David. When I come back, my cat was gone. Oh, what a sad thing. And they told me I caught the train to London. And I used to sit on the bridge every day, waiting all day long to see if my cat would come back from London. And we moved from this basement flat up into our village to get some more points so we could go on the housing list to get a council house. We used to walk up here, walk up there, and sit and look at the trains going by all day long, sitting in the smoke and the steam of the railway.
You had no bathroom?
And no bathroom.
What did you do?
I used to go to my grandmother's on a weekend, and we used to have a bath in her. I used to sit with my aunties and my uncles and my cousins and be bathed by my grandmother in her tin bath in her kitchen.
What about toilets?
Like one of those. There was a toilet there.
Must have been a sink. Was there a sink?
Oh, I had everything there. Everything else but bathing was something that I was sharing with the rest of the family, with my grandmother at 56 Percy Road, which is where we're going to now. This was built by Llewellyns in 1961, 62. When I joined them, they just were in the throes of finishing that. That was war damage. And underneath there are cellars and caves absolutely full of all sorts of vintage wines and port and brandies and goodness knows what. When I was a kid, we used to have ancestors that lived down here. We used to come down in the week to visit them. On top of there is the Fernbank Maternity Home, where I first saw the light of day. Up in there. I remember the first time I rode up this road on the bike. Wow, was I a fine fellow. We used to ride along the back of the bus. Used to get our front wheel just by the back bumper of the bus and ride it up here. Yeah. Just imagine that. Boy, we were fit. This was the workhouse, the Hastings workhouse. Affectionately known as the spike, because they put your name on the spike. You had to get a piece of paper with your name written on it to say you could stay there. Now I guess they're all desirable starter homes. Round about here was Lily Morris and Teddy Morris's house, and we moved from Man Street into their front room so that we could get the points to qualify for the council house. Because living in the flat didn't give you enough points. But living in the front of someone else's house, and all they had was one cold tap, a gas supply, but no electricity. The lighting was done by gas mantles, and the water was a cold water tap downstairs, and the electricity that they had was battery accumulators, glass things, to listen to the radio, which they listened to every day the 6 o'clock news, the Archers then turned it off. And that's Church Street. And there was all of my great aunts, my mother's aunts, grandmothers, great grandmothers, all living from here to the end. And that's where they all lived. And we came here from Main Street. We went to school just over this. Which was the Butcher's Hollow, known as the Hollow, officially the Butcher's Hollow, because this is where they kept the pigs, and this is where the butchers used to shout across the valley from one side to the other, and it became known as the Butcher's Hollow. And on the far side of there, that's where we went to school. We used to walk down the dip, over the stream, up the other side. And we always got covered in mud, and we always got told off because we were supposed to go round the road, through the village and down. But hey, you're going to walk from 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock, or you're going to go, I'll go backwards. I'm not walking all the way around the circle, I'm just going to go that little bit. Then you get muddy, so you get told off, but it's worth it because you saved to walk, didn't you? And we used to come and play on the green, where we played football and cricket. And I must have been 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, 12 and 13 years old playing here. That's 54. That's Ray Gutzel. That's 56. That's where my nan and granddad lived. And all my mother's sisters and brothers lived. That was the Gallop family home, number 56, Percy Road. That must be Ray's car. Ray Gutzel, I think you know Ray. That's where he lives, number 54. That was his mother's house. And if his mother was alive today, she would be, what, 100 years, I think. Must be, because he was 40 something when Ray was born. He's heading up to 58 now, 59. Lived in there all his life, all the days of his life. That's the school I went to, Red Lake. That was my primary school.
That yellow building.
Yeah. What's the school you go to before the grammar school?
Primary.
That's it. That was the primary school I went to. That's where I met Orpston. On these steps, just here, look. There.
Oh yeah.
I came down here, Montgomery Road, into Churchill Avenue, and we lived here, look, in Mount Batten Close in 1950. No surprise there, eh? When we moved up to this, they hadn't put the curbs down, they hadn't finished the road, the houses were just here. And we lived in number 18. Me, my mum, my dad, my two brothers. That one there. 18 Mountbatten Close. And this was our world. That house there. Can you see the glass blocks? And those glass bricks like the staircase. Very 1950s. Built by, oh, I've got to go and block in. Built by the prisoners of war, what were they, German and Italian. prisoners of war. Built all of these as reparation. In 1946, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. And again, we used to know everybody in all of these houses. Because this was our world. And this is where I learned to ride, from this coldest roundabout to that roundabout. Along here, where I learned to ride a two-wheel bike. And it was a brick in the road. Guess what I did?
Hit it.
Yeah. Went to Perla. Scratched my new bike on Christmas Day. Brand new bike. I was heartbroken. My brand new bike was scratched. That's 18 Mountbatten Close. So we moved from Church Street up into that brand new house, and boy did we think we were jolly fine. And we moved from there in 1954, 55-ish, into our first home that Dad owned. He built it. He bought the land and he built a house, a bungalow on it, in Middle Road. We used to walk up here without our mums and dads. 5 years old, we'd take ourselves to school. And we'd start with one, and it would grow into a crocodile. As we went down and knocked on the doors of our friends, they came out and joined, and we went on and down and down. This road wasn't here. This was just open land. And we came across here, and we went up there to the infant school. Red Lake CP school. Up there at the end. That's where we went to school. And from infants we went down to Red Lake Junior School. And we also shared with... I'm not going to go that way, I'm going to go the other way.
Why was it called Red Lake?
Iron ore, guess. Why is this called ore? Why is it called Red Lake? I guess because that's what's around here. Iron, isn't it? There, down in the dip, was the bungalow that my dad built my mum. In that bathroom, and we had a handheld hair wash thing in that bathroom. We were pretty cool. We used to walk down by the King John to the school and walk back, do our shopping in the village and walk back, go down to the baker's every day and get 3 loaves of bread. The world was a wonderful place. And my dad sold it, came home and told my mother that he'd sold her bungalow. She was not displeased. And we moved from there to Harold Road. .297 Harold Road. We used to walk back, go straight over to Fairlight Glen, Ecclesbourne Glen. We used to spend the whole of the summer, the whole of weekends over there. Ormston used to come down to our house here. Gutsall used to come. All of the school friends came down to our house, which was here. Number 297. In those far off days, there was a gap where that new house is. And that was the side garden. And my dad built a garage just behind where that 295 number is. That bedroom on the front was Mum and Dad's. My bedroom was at the back. Keith and David shared the bedroom behind Mum and Dad's. That had an inside bathroom, a toilet and all the facilities. He owned that land there. He built a garage with the driveway. He left the cement mixer on the side, and it was Keith and David who were playing on that cement mixer. The cement mixer fell over, Keith was trapped underneath it and died. Now that was 50 years ago. So that was definitely 1957. And as a consequence of that, we had to leave this house because Mother couldn't bear to be here. And Father bought the land on the ridge and built the house on the ridge. And we moved out in 58. Went into a basement flat in St Leonard's and then came from the basement flat into the house on the ridge in 59. And I lived there until I got married and moved out when I was 22. In 1967, in the September of 1967. So now we go to the ridge for 37. But the one thing I distinctly remember is walking up here to take my 11 plus. Because that morning my mum brought me to school, and she came up to school with me and she told me I must do my best and I must show them how clever I am and get it right and be neat and tidy, read the questions properly and answer them properly. And at the end of the road she bought me a wagon wheel as a treat to have after the exam. And I went down the hill into Sandown School, which is no longer there, to do my 11 plus. And I thought, well, this is going to be some sort of thing because everyone's making a special deal of this. And when I got it and opened it, it was absolutely easy peasy because all you had to do was write the answer in. The questions were all printed and you just had to tick boxes and match things up and do the sums that were already printed on the paper. Well, that was good. So all you really had to do was write your name and fill in the boxes. So I thought, well, what's the big deal? Because this is even easier than what we've been doing in the lessons. You have to write the numbers down and you have to put the plus and minuses in and the division signs and all that stuff. This was easy peasy. So I went to the Hastings Grammar School. And we moved into number 37. And I believe it cost something like £1,750 to build the house. This is what you describe as a little workman's cottage. That house there. There's the little workman's cottage you described. All £350,000 worth of it. That was Rebecca's bedroom, where the bay window is. That was mine and David's bedroom. Front room, the front door. The entry was there, the garage was there. All then. This is the bloody wall that my dad made me rebuild. We had to, not any other thing at all. The police came round and we all had to reverse onto the driveway so we could drive onto the road. And my dad had built this thing with some 6-foot gates. And then he went out and bought a 6-foot pickup truck. And while reversing it in one night, I was looking in the wrong direction and I knocked the gate pillar over. I had to spend the whole week cleaning the bricks off the pier, and then he went and rebuilt it in exactly the same place. And then about 6 months later, hey presto, he knocked it over. Guess what he did? Widened it by 18 inches. So it's like it is today. That very pillar there. 37 the Ridge. That's the house they left to go to Australia. This was the house where everybody came to. This is where all the sisters came, all the friends came. Open house. The kettle was never off. The cupboard was never closed. And this is where I got married from. That's where we met Chris and John Gallop, although John Gallop is a first cousin and I knew him before because I'm related to every Gallop in the whole wide world. So although I'm Cooper by name, I'm 50% Gallop by birth. I built that church when I was with Llewellyns. That's the house you were born in. Number 78, Parkstone Road, on the end. 1973,
Mum.
we moved down here.
2 maximum.
You was a little babe, just beginning to walk when we moved in down here. And I sold the house in Parkstone Road for £6,750. And I bought this house here for £8,000. And I put down £2,000 as a deposit and took out a £6,000 mortgage. I didn't sleep properly for the first 2 or 3 weeks in this house. I used to lie awake at night thinking, what are you thinking of, Richard? You've taken out a £6,000 mortgage. There's your home. That's where you grew up. That was Big Tony and Little Wendy was in that one. My goodness me.
That was the Pipers.
Uh-huh. They were school teachers before lived in there. They had a little girl and you had a paddling pool on the back patio. And she came round and she was running around in a... She'd taken her top off and was running in the water. The parents went absolutely bananas, letting their daughter, her daughter was exposing herself. She's 2. 3 years old. Stephen's 3 years old, thank goodness sake. They didn't play. This was the reason for buying the house, was because of these little shops here and all the amenities for kids to grow up. That's where I used to come and fetch you out the blooming stream. That's where I told you not to go in the stream. My goodness. You used to come careering down here on your skateboard.
Yeah.
Your
Hospitalised.
bicycle. Up many times. I used to dread bank holidays. Dear God in heaven. Do you mind if I go and play golf? That's fine, you go and play golf. Every time I enter the golfing competition, there'd be somebody come round. Richard, excuse, how are you doing? Your wife's on the phone. Yes, your son's been taken to hospital. He's unconscious. What's he done? He fell off the skateboard. Oh dear. Where is he? He's in the Frederick Road, where we've just been, by Church Street. He's in intensive care. He's in high whatever. He's unconscious. What's he done? He's fell off his bike. What's he done? He's fell off his inline. He's fell off. What was he doing? Trying to jump something, trying to climb something, trying to swim something, trying to swing something, trying to do something up in the air. What happened? He landed on his head and he's unconscious.
Found out he couldn't do it.
Okay. Scratch me out of this competitions. Every year it happened. I never ever finished the captain's day. Never once. I think the last time you did it, your mother... Well, you've taken your time getting here. What's the point of rushing? It's the third time he's done it. He'll be lying there, he'll come round in a bit, he'll ask for a drink, you'll give him a drink, he'll be sick, he'll throw up all over the place, we'll go home. Well, you could show more compassion. Compassion? I think he could show more compassion. Once a year, Captain's Day. Hey, that's life. I'm making a hole in the wall. Why? Because I want to keep all my secrets in it. Steve, you just gouged out all the plaster. Yeah, but I thought I'd get it filled in before you came back. Steve, the tree's broke. Yeah, I fell out of it. Steve, the shed leaks. Yeah, I know, I've been jumping up and down on it. Why? Well, I needed to get over the fence. Why? Well, it's quicker than going round.
Yeah.
And this is where you went to school. My goodness. My goodness. We've been teaching you to swim. You'd rather do dive bombs. You'd rather do dive bombing on me when I was swimming. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Hey Dad, what? What? That was fun, wasn't it? Warrior Square. Yeah. My goodness. Some memories here. 11 years I worked in Warrior Square, in Llewellyn's office. Various parts of the basement. Till I was put in the conservatory.